Greetings everyone, we are from Group 4 and we will be presenting our quiz today for the Principle of Management course. Let's meet the team members, myself Vityasri, next is Revati, Lavanya and Pusparani.
Hi everyone, I'm Lavanya. I will be presenting Managerial Identity Work, a systemic literature review with a conceptual model, Article 1, article summary, and the issues discussed in the research. The article summary can be categorized into three categories: purpose, key findings, and significance. The goal of the study is to understand better managerial identity work (MIW) and how managers constantly negotiate and shape their professional identities by reviewing 61 empirical studies using PRISMA methodology. Key findings of the research is a conceptual model of management identities is formed by organizing 8 MIW themes into 4 dimensions: knowledge, awareness, motive, and privilege. The significance of the research is MIW is a dynamic process that impacts new, experienced, and minority managers. Overall, the study offers a solid foundation for future research and practice in leadership development, identity, and inclusion. The research mainly discussed about 8 managerial identity work themes and 4 dimensions. Firstly, first-time managers face significant challenges when transitioning from specialist or operational roles into management, often experiencing uncertainty, stress, and identity confusion as they redefine what it means to be an authentic manager. Research shows that while some benefit from the transition and improve organizational process, others struggle when the role is imposed. In hybrid role, managerial identities develop gradually through stages of familiarization, rationalization, and legitimization as individuals adapt to new responsibilities and expectations. Identity work of experienced manager. The article shows that identity work does not end once managers gain experience. Experienced managers could negotiate their identities to maintain credibility, aligning personal values with organizational expectations and sustain a coherent sense of self over time. Studies shows that experienced managers shape their identities through ongoing performance and available organizational discourse, but constant pressure to display competence and efficiency can create anxiety and insecurity. Managerial identity work, particularly through reflexivity, helps managers manage stress, accept limitation, and strengthen their managerial identity over time. Furthermore, management development programs (MDP) are discussed as important but limited in their ability to support managerial identity work. Many programs emphasize technical skills and performance outcomes while insufficiently addressing identity reflection, identity regulation, and the deeper sense-making process managers require. Manager identities are shaped by how subordinates, peers, and senior leaders perceive them, often constraining identity expressions and pressuring managers to perform different identities for different audiences. Drawing on Lishmarshmans and Jonas 2018, managers adopt flexible identities depending on context. Managers adapt their identities to different situations, acting as a traveler across teams or leaders, a master to project authority and stability, a consultant to collaborate within organizational teams, or an educator to enforce fairness. These shifting identity presentations reflect the audience expectations to maintain legitimacy and credibility. The review highlights the issue of blurred managerial identities, where managers struggle to reconcile multiple and sometimes conflicting roles and expectations, resulting in ambiguity, tension, and identity fragmentation. These challenges often arise from conflicting between personal values and organizational demands, generating frustration, guilt, and anxiety. Managerial identity work is shaped by cognitive, narrative, emotional, and power related forces, and managers may cope through role distancing or by seeking validation from different sources. Importantly, embracing workplace tension rather than avoiding them can facilitate identity work and support managers in navigating complex and conflicting roles. Managers engage in identity work to create preferred identities that align with personal goals and organizational norms. For example, managers in innovation focused industry may present themselves as agents of change, while others may heroize their roles or overextend themselves to legitimize projects. Identity works can either reinforce harmful power dynamics or, when used self-reflexive, promote growth and positive workplace culture. Moreover, identity work acts as a medium for managers to cope with stress, make sense of experience, protect self-esteem, and manage role tensions in organization. MIW can also serve as a protective mechanism, such as managers acting as umbrella carriers to shield subordinates from organizational pressures. For managers uncertain about their identity, MIW follows three pathways: repairment, which is reassessing self worth; development, which is aligning identity with career goals; and fulfillment, which is enriching the managerial self. MIW also support personal stability, helping managers maintain a coherent sense of self in changing environments, including home office contexts. The article emphasizes that women and minority managers experience distinct identity challenges due to power imbalances, stereotypes, and limited access to privilege, which shapes how their managerial identities are constructed and validated. Women must navigate both masculine and feminine behaviors, blending authority with relational and emotional skills, which can be exhausting and creating feelings of being a third sex. Integration and conceptual framework. Through an iterative analysis, the author reached thematic saturation, indicating that no new themes were emerging. This process resulted in four core dimensions: knowledge, awareness, motive, and privileges. Knowledge refers to the managerial understanding and skills developed through experience, role transitions, and management development programs. It shapes how managers learn what it means to be a manager and provides the foundation for engaging in managerial identity work. Secondly, awareness captures managers' recognition of external expectations, social perception, and identity tension, including blurred managerial identities. It reflects how managers become conscious of how they are viewed by others and how this influences their identity construction. Thirdly, motive explains why managers engage in identity work, such as creating a preferred managerial identity, maintaining legitimacy, coping with stress, or achieving personal and professional goals. Lastly, privilege highlights how power relation, social position, and organizational structures shape managerial identity work, particularly affecting women and minority managers who face unequal recognition and additional identity challenges. That's all from me. Thank you. Next, I will pass to my group member for author's recommendations.
Hi everyone, I'm Vityashree and I'll be presenting the author's recommendation. The authors recommend that organizations include managerial identity work in management development programs. This means helping managers develop self-awareness and self-reflection about who they are as leaders. They also emphasize that identity conflict should be seen as a normal part of management rather than a sign of weakness. Finally, they suggest that leadership development should address issues of privilege and unfairness to create more ethical and inclusive management practice. Hi everyone, I'm Vidyashree and I'll be presenting why authors recommend it. The authors recommend this because managers today face challenges such as authority issues, ethical dilemmas, and unclear responsibilities. Traditional skill-based training is not enough to prepare them for these complex roles. Developing managerial identity helps managers gain confidence, ethical awareness, and better leadership effectiveness. This is especially important in both organizational and international contexts where managers deal with diverse challenges. Hi everyone, I'm Vidyashree and I'll be presenting student recommendation. From a student perspective, organizations can go further by including reflection as part of performance assessment. Managers should also be trained to handle challenges in digital and AI-driven environments. Additionally, new and minority managers should be supported with identity-focused guidance. Finally, the concept of good management should be widened to include adaptability and ethics, not only performance indicators like KPIs.
Good day, everyone. My name is Revati, and I'll be presenting the conclusion. In conclusion, this article shows that being a manager is not only about performing managerial tasks, but also about how managers help and shape their professional identity. Managers constantly balance personal values, organizational expectations, and external perceptions. Through self awareness and reflection, managerial identity work help managers to cope with pressure, adapt to challenges, and become more effective leaders. Therefore, understanding this process is important for developing confident, ethical, and adaptable managers in today's complex organizations. Thank you. Now I'll be passing to the next presenter.
Hi everyone, I'm Vidyashree and me and my group will be presenting the role of organizational culture in driving managerial innovation, evidence from American Startups, Article 2. Hi everyone, I'm Vidyashree and I'll be presenting Article Summary. This article investigates how organizational culture influences managerial innovation in Moroccan startups. The researcher focused on four types of culture based on Cameron and Quinn's model: autocracy, clan, hierarchical, and market culture. Using data collected from 104 startups and analyzed through PCA and SEM methods, the study found clear relationships between culture and innovation. The key finding is that autocracy culture supports disruptive innovation, while clan and hierarchical cultures support incremental improvements. Market culture enhances performance but may limit creativity. The significance of this study is that it shows innovation is not only driven by strategy or technology, but strongly shaped by organizational culture, especially in emerging markets like Morocco. Hi everyone, I'm Vidyasri and I'll be presenting issue discussed. The main issue discussed in this article is that organizational culture affects how managers implement innovation in Moroccan startups. Managers operate in environments with limited resources, rapid technological change, and unstable markets. In such situations, managers cannot rely only on standard management practices. The study explains that organizational culture influences how managers plan, organize, lead, and control innovation activities. There's also a tension between traditional hierarchical norms and the need for modern, flexible innovation practices. Therefore, cultural alignment becomes essential for innovation and competitiveness in emerging markets. I'm Vidyasri and I'll be presenting the conceptual framework. The study is built on a conceptual framework that integrates three main theories. First, the competing values framework by Cameron and Quinn, which explains the four types of organizational culture: autocracy, clan, hierarchical, and market. Second, the dynamic capabilities framework, which suggests that startups must adapt their internal resources, including culture, to remain competitive in changing environments. Third, the cultural ambidexterity model, which highlights the need to balance disruptive and incremental innovation. Based on this integration, the study tests the relationship between organizational culture and managerial innovation.
I am Pushparani. Today I present article number 2, author recommendation. The author recommends building a culture of the advocacy where creativity, flexibility, and taking risks are welcome. This kind of the culture help organization become more innovative. At the same time, organization should use the rules and structure only when needed to keep work efficient and stable. A good balance between flexibility and control is important. The author also encouraged modern management style and culture flexibility by providing policies and training programs that support startup or the new ideas. Finally, the author highlights the need of the continuous learning and research to the better understand how the organization culture supports innovative over time. The second is why the authors recommended it. First, the study provides rare real-world evidence from Moroccan startup, the topic that's been not been widely studied in innovation research. Second, it showed that the organization culture directly affects managerial innovation, not just employee behavior. Third, the finding help manager intentionally shape workplace culture to improve innovation, flexibility, and competitiveness. Finally, the study of a practical strategy of policymaker, incubators, and support organization to strengthen up startup innovation ecosystem. Third is a student recommendation. Students should understand the importance of organization culture and how it influences innovation and management practice. Knowing this helps them adapt the better to modern workplace. They should also take part in the internship, project, or startup activities to gain the real world experience in the innovative work environment. Developing creativity and flexibility is essential, as many organizations today value new ideas and the availability to adapt the change. Finally, students should continue upgrade their management and digital skills so they are well prepared to work in innovative organization of 21st century.
In conclusion, this second article highlights that organizational culture plays a key role in shaping managerial innovation. Different culture types can either encourage creativity and flexibility or provide structure and stability. This shows that managers must actively align organizational culture with innovation goals to remain competitive. Overall, effective managers are not only decision makers but also cultural leaders who create an environment that support innovation and long-term success. That's all from me. Thank you for listening to our presentation.